Welcome, guys. Today I will show you what the King's Gambit is and how to play it. The King's Gambit is a pawn sacrifice for a better position. After Black accepts the Gambit by taking the pawn, White gets very active play and attacking chances. What is the King's Gambit? But firstly, what is the King's Gambit? It is a very aggressive chess opening that starts with e4. Black responds with pawn to e5, and then White sacrifices a pawn by playing pawn to f4. The idea behind this move is to gain time, develop pieces quickly, and attack the Black king. It is not the most accurate opening, according to modern engines, especially at the highest level, but it is very aggressive and fun to play for many players below master level. Main line. To start analyzing the possible moves in the King's Gambit, I will begin with the so-called main line. It starts with Black accepting the Gambit by taking the pawn on f4. Then, White develops the knight to f3. Black continues aggressively by pushing the pawn to g5, trying to protect the extra pawn. The main move here is White playing pawn to h4. This immediately attacks Black's pawn structure and creates attacking possibilities. Black plays pawn to f6 now. If Black plays carelessly by moving the pawn to f6 with the idea of protecting the pawn on g5, White has a beautiful tactical idea. White sacrifices the knight by playing knight takes the pawn on g5. If Black takes the knight back with the pawn, White has queen to h5 check. Black has to move the king to e7. Then White continues with another check by playing queen takes the pawn on g5 check. Black has a very difficult position. In the best case scenario, Black loses the knight and also loses the ability to castle. Black plays pawn to g4. A much better option for Black is attacking the knight by playing pawn to g4. The best move for White is knight to e5. Many players would continue with knight to f6 because they want to develop a piece and defend the pawn on g4. However, after exchanges, White usually gets a slightly better position. The important thing about this position is that Black does not have to exchange pieces. If Black avoids exchanges, the position can even become slightly better for Black. Cunningham defense. This variation starts similarly to the previous lines, but on the third move, Black plays bishop to e7. The idea is to prepare bishop to h4 check and prevent White from castling. The best option for White is not to try to stop Black's attack, but instead to continue developing pieces by playing bishop to c4. After Black plays bishop to h4 check, you should not capture this bishop. Instead, White should move the king to f1. White loses the ability to castle, but still has better developed pieces and active attacking chances. This is one of the strongest ways for Black to play against the King's Gambit. Shallop defense. In this variation, Black develops the knight. One of the best responses is attacking this knight by pushing the pawn to e5. The best move for Black is usually knight to e4. Now, White has many options. White can play queen to e2, attacking the knight. Another possibility is pawn to d3, also putting pressure on the knight. White can also play pawn to d4, taking control of the center and supporting the pawn on e5. This variation gives White different choices: developing pieces, attacking the opponent's knight, or controlling the center. Bishop's Gambit. White can also play a different move instead of knight to f3, for example, bishop to c4. However, Black can respond with queen to h4 check. The best move for White is to move the king to f1. Then Black has many options, such as developing the knight to ff6. This position is playable, but personally, I prefer knight to f3 because it is more natural and easier to play. However, Bishop's Gambit is still a good option, and many attacking players enjoy it. King's Gambit decline. King defense. Some players may decline the Gambit by playing queen to h4 check. This move practically forces White to push the pawn to g3. Then Black has to move the queen back, and White can continue developing pieces. White also gets a strong pawn structure and a comfortable position. Falkbeer counter Gambit. If Black plays this counter Gambit, you should not take the pawn on e5. After Black plays queen to h4 check, White can get into a very difficult position. Instead, White should take the pawn on d5. Then after Black recaptures, White develops the knight to f3. After this, White gets an active position that is close to equal and still very aggressive. Classical variation. In this last variation, black plays bishop to c5. White should respond by developing the knight to f3. Black can continue with moves like pawn to d6, and the position is nearly equal. The biggest problem for white is the bishop controlling the way to castle. Because of this, white should play pawn to c3 with the idea of playing pawn to d4 in the future. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you left a like and subscribed. It would give me motivation to make more videos like this. You can also comment what opening I should cover next. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.